Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fan Forum. We have the OG panel of the studio today. We have Faz, Kev and Ricky, and Manchester United have just won 1-0 as well. And a lot to get into, obviously protests before the game, a bit of a sale update and the game in general. Different kind of tactics from Erik ten Hag against Aston Villa today and some good substitutions I thought. So we'll get into that, mixed reviews on the panel. But we'll start off, Ricky. You're back from Rome. You've just been watching Matic play football. I mean, how are you feeling to be back, and are you happy with the result?
Over the moon with the result, yeah. I thought we played really well today. I thought we played some great stuff for, some long periods of the game. I was really pleased with the way we moved the ball about today. Played our best football for some time, I thought, today.
Well, at Old Trafford, we do seem to be a lot better than away from home. Ten Hag has kind of made it a fortress again this season. I mean, Faz, how are you feeling about it? How do you feel about the result? Are you a little bit cautious of the lack of goals, potentially, when we're creating chances?
Yeah, I mean, look, first half has always been good in the last few games, but in this particular game, I was more so thinking, how are we going to react in the second half? And it was, again, easing off the gas in the second half. And as much as it shouldn't be where we're 1-0 up and we're kind of more scared than before because we don't want to lose the lead. That's what it feels like. And that shouldn't be the case. We should be more confident, thinking, yeah, we can get another few goals. A couple of the players got in behind and had a few chances, but overall, you just think 3 points, you take it, you keep moving forward, isn't it? To secure top 4.
Exactly. I mean, there was quite a lot of protests before the game. I mean, a couple of us were there. I think, were you there, Faz?
No, I wasn't.
Well, I was there, and a couple of people from the United Stand was there, and obviously the protest did actually go on for quite some time. A lot of people did not go to the seats until the 18th minute, protesting for the Glazers to leave the football club. And obviously everybody knows what the update is with the ownership situation. We've got two options. We've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who wants 50% and the Glazers to stay with 20%, and we've got Sheikh Jassim, who wants the full takeover of everything of Manchester United. And basically what Man United fans were protesting today was for the full sale, full takeover only. I mean, Kev, first of all, what are your thoughts on the protest? I'm sure you've seen it. And second of all, how important is this for Man United fans? It's such a turning point potentially in Man United's history. I mean, they've been here for now, what is it, 18 years?
Yeah.
I mean, the next chapter is going to be so important when you're competing with the likes of City, Newcastle now with their owners, and competing across Europe as well. How important a protest like this?
Well, first of all, I would say anybody that attended it, the finest of fair play to you. It's a massive, massive moment in Manchester United's history, this. And us as supporters, for our children, for the next generation, we want to do it as supporters. It has to be a full sale. It really, really does. And I think the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe now has kind of opened the door to leave these two, still at Manchester United, it's the stuff that nightmares are made of. It really is. And that's the position that we find ourselves in at the minute, is that these could still be here, still taking money out of the club.
Well, that's
frightening.
Well, it is really frightening. My thoughts on this is, I'm just going to say a little bit. Obviously, Sir Jim came into it saying he wanted the full takeover, and when that was the case between Qatar and Sir Jim, I was like, personally, I probably think we've more ambition with Qatar, but as long as they're gone, like, that's fine, like, anything's going to be better. But hearing they could potentially stay, it really is frustrating. And I honestly, with that kind of, from what I know with the bid of Sir Jim, I just don't see anything other than humongous debt and no progression, really. I just don't see the progression with that bid. But I mean, it is frustrating. I think there was a quote that came out. I don't know the exact quote. I'll ask Ryan to get it for me. And it was Sir Jim speaking about how the Glazers are one of the nicest people that they've met. And it was from quite a while ago. That's
where alarm bells should have been ringing, really.
Yeah.
And then you think, if you lie down with dogs, you stand up with fleas, and that's exactly what will happen with these. And really, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is obviously no different to these. He is a money man. Don't get me wrong, anybody in business or whatever that's looking to purchase a football club will be looking for some kind of investment back, but it needs to be a full sale.
Yeah, and it's for me as well, it's like, you're not a United fan if you claim you want the full takeover and then you stoop down to keeping the Glazers there. Like, I just don't see how you can claim to be a United fan if that is the case. But that's just my opinion. Everyone will have a different one as well. And this was the quote. It was Sir Jim Ratcliffe in October. I've met Joel and Avram Glazer, and they are the nicest people. I have to say, they are proper gentlemen. I mean, they might be nice people to speak to. Like, we've never spoke to them, but they're not good for this football club whatsoever, and they definitely are not going to put the fans first, which is exactly what we need. But just wanted to touch on that because obviously everybody who came out to the protest, and not just people that were at the protest, everybody on social media as well that are making your voices heard. It's super, super important that we keep this going, and it's going to be important for the future of Manchester United, and we want Manchester United to be winning things, and ultimately we want the fans to come first, and these things need to happen. So well done to everybody getting involved in that, and keep doing so if you've not already. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that because it was a great thing that the fan base came together and did. But moving on, I mean, Ricky, I'll come to you on this one. I'll bring him up straight away when I bring him up because he's been unbelievable recently, and it's Victor Lindelof. Again, amazing performance, him and Luke Shaw. I'm starting to think, genuinely, I don't think we need to buy a centre-back in the summer because you've got Fran and Martinez, you've got Luke Shaw and Lindelof.
All three of you were laughing at me when I said we ain't going to miss it.
Ricky looked like a real proud parent then.
I tell you, I'm deadly serious. Lindelof's playing better than Varane was playing, and Shaw's playing better than Martinez was playing. We're absolutely moving the ball around.
Whoa, did you say Shaw?
He's playing better than Martinez was. They're playing superbly.
It has been some
They're playing
partnership.
superbly. You know, they really are.
2 games.
Yeah, I agree it's only a short space of time. And I know, like I always say, you need a longer run. As I've often said about Beth's always saying, oh, we got beat when Bruno didn't play against Villa. It don't matter, it's one game. So agreed, that's true. But at the minute, the way it's going, it's absolutely superb, and we don't need, we're not missing them 100%. What we are missing is we're missing Shaw at left back because he's not a left back, and then we're having to play Dalot at left back, so we're missing Dalot at right back.
I have to say, I thought Malacia was brilliant today.
Malacia played well today, but he's not been playing well up until today. He did play well
games.
today, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're playing great there. We're not
Champ's
missing
going
them,
wild.
and hopefully it'll keep going.
Ricky's hot take.
The way they're playing, by the way, it's not just the defending. The way they're moving the ball around and the way they feed it into the midfield, the passing's fantastic from both of them. And the way Lindelof, he sometimes runs in front of Dalot to receive the ball and then picks a really smart pass into the middle of the field or down the wing, whichever he chooses. Playing fantastic.
I have to take your hat off to him because it's a partnership that's, it's not got longevity. I can't see it being, it's only because of these injuries at the minute, but the two of them, absolutely fantastic. And obviously we'll get into man of the match later on, but Lindelof's definitely up there. He was brilliant today, and Luke Shaw again, he just continues to perfect this role.
I mean, I said Lindelof because he was great, but you were right. Luke Shaw was absolutely brilliant as well.
Equally as good.
He was great at Tottenham as well, and he got some of his flowers taken away from him because we ended up conceding 2 goals, none of which were his fault. He played really, really well. I mean, the chat were going wild then, saying better than Varane and Martinez. I don't think you're saying the better like for a long period of time than Varane and Martinez, but I have to say, we haven't, even though I love Varane and Martinez and they are the first choice pairing, we haven't missed them. They have stepped up to the plate and they've played just as well.
Beth, you can only take it game by game. I agree that in the long term it might not be better, but you can only take it game by game, and so far it's better. It's definitely better.
I wouldn't say the better. I just say I would look at it and say we haven't missed them. Definitely, they've stepped up to the plate.
I think we're playing better. We're moving the ball around.
How is it better when it was 2-2 against Tottenham and it's only 1-0? It's not like we've conceded 2 goals in 2 games, if you want to put it like that. It's not really as good as people make it sound. It's clean football. It's cleaner football for sure.
There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. The way we were playing at Spurs, and I know your defenders are still on, of course they are, but the manager's substitutions at Spurs were an absolute disgrace. We absolutely fell apart after the substitutions. And we virtually always concede at least 2 goals it's true against the top 9. We haven't beaten any of the top 9. We actually, really speaking, compared to our other results against the top 9 teams, it was a great result getting a draw. We usually get beat and we usually let at least 2 in. So even though we were 2-0 up before the game, if you'd have said it's going to be we probably wouldn't have took it, don't get me wrong, but certainly you wouldn't expect it to be any better. That's how we generally do against teams like that away from home.
We look comfortable today. That was a good thing. I know late on there was a little bit of a surge, but you know you're going to get that anyway. Aston Villa have got nothing to lose at that stage, but defensively, Lindelof heading that one off the line, they were throwing everything on the line.
They're one of the form teams in the league, don't forget.
That's what I mean.
That's a fantastic win. We played some really good stuff. It's a fantastic win. I'm not saying we wouldn't, but we might not have won it if the other two were playing.
Keep Brighton.
It's a fantastic
6-0.
6-0 the other day, and we drew with them last week with them playing. You just said something I wanted to mention, so I'll mention it while it's in my mind. It's a little bit different. Lindelof's header off the line, I thought, what a fantastic clearance. Then it got VAR, didn't it? Well, it didn't have to VAR it. The linesman put his flag up.
Yeah.
So he made what looked like a fantastic clearance off the line. All his teammates were giving him high fives. Then the flag goes up. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. Do you know what I mean? Well, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people in the chat saying it's not that we would love to have Varane and Martinez fit. It's not as if we wouldn't want Varane and Martinez. I would love to have them fit, but I'm just saying these two have definitely stepped up to the plate. I mean, Faz, a lot of talks, people putting centre back as a priority position to strengthen in the summer. Honestly, when I look at the funds that we've got and where we're going to be going in the summer, I think Maguire leaves. You've got to keep hold of Victor Lindelof. Then if you've got Varane and Martinez, say, as your first choice, and you've got Malacia and Dali who can both play left back. Is it really a priority then? If you have Lindelof and Shaw who can step in, is it really a priority then?
Yeah, of course it is. You want to upgrade on your spine. Varane doesn't play 2 games a week, and next season we'll be playing.
Can Lindelof not do that though?
Well, listen, we're always 1 game away of us sitting here and saying, "Oh yeah, we were so hyped up, weren't we? Oh, look at this, they were playing such great football against Villa, and then here we sat with our hands on our face after Brighton defeat. If Brighton, God forbid, beat us." It's only 2 games. As much as they've been playing well, I'm not gonna, start getting too excited because I remember when Martinez was suspended against Barcelona, we were all sat here thinking, how are we gonna go and play Barcelona? But we made it happen. So I'll just see how they finish the season, because it seems like Martinez and Varane might come back for the City game final, and it'll be interesting to see if they are available, if Ten Hag uses them or not. But fact is, we do need one more centre back. Maguire's going to go, right? And if Maguire goes, who's going to be on our bench anyways? Who is?
That is?
Because Varane doesn't play 2 games a week. You need to counter for injuries and 4 competitions as well. And we want to be competing for every competition. We want a good ball-playing, fit, physical, tall centre-back. So, yeah, it is one of the priorities.
Well, he's not tall, but we have been linked to Joreen Timber quite heavily this week, and he obviously can play multiple different positions, which Ten Hag loves. So he could be kind of versatile right-back, centre-back, inverted centre-back, inverted right-back. There's different roles he can play, so that's one we could go for in the summer. But Kev, I hate to come to you on this one because I know you got a lot of stick about it last time. I'm not going to anyway.
I'll ask you about Harry Maguire.
Yeah, he's about to. I mean, we're only going to touch on it a little bit because obviously he barely played today, so you can't really judge his performance too heavily. But, I mean, club captain, supposedly. I mean, Varane and Martinez are both injured. Shaw and Lindelof. Shaw's a left back. I mean, he's a great centre back. Well, Shaw is a left back. Both playing ahead of you. You're sat on the only centre back left sat on the bench. Reckon it's time to go now. Do you think it is kind of a thing from Ten Hag, subtly saying probably time to go now?
Yeah, it's 100%. It's time to go. If Harry Maguire's got anything about it in himself, he will know at the end of the season that 5 minutes against Aston Villa at home is not enough. He's a professional footballer. He should want to play football now. Yes, it will be hard for him to leave Manchester United. He is the club captain of Manchester United, but I don't know whether you didn't even notice. The thing that he usually does when he comes on the pitch is usually straight over to get the captain's armband. That didn't happen today. Because that's the first thing he usually does. So I don't know what that, has he been told, don't be doing that?
Ten Hag's been naming Bruno his captain all week, hasn't he? So maybe I'm not sure.
But listen, I'm not going to say anything too much about him because obviously the death threats and that
he did get a boo at Old Trafford, by the way. Did anyone else hear that?
What?
He got a boo where I was sat anyway, quite a loud one. I don't agree with booing your own players. I really don't agree with it, and obviously I don't agree with that at all.
Are you sure they were booing him or not Emi Martinez?
Pretty sure it was Maguire, yeah. Okay. A lot of people were saying
it. And that's the thing with this centre-back pairing. I think, like Faz says, a lot of us are kind of looking forward to the FA Cup final, but we're also a bit like looking at it thinking, God, Ollie Watkins is a player that was in form coming into this game today, and what Lindelof and Shaw have done today was absolutely fantastic. Now, don't get me wrong, Haaland and the rest of the City team are going to be a different kettle of fish altogether, But it gives us a bit of hope now looking at this partnership because it has to work.
Shaw's done it once before.
He sure has.
Yeah, he started against the 2-1 win, didn't he, over City? So it'll be interesting to see. But a couple super chats in. Steve Ross says, Shaw and Lindelof are good, but the idea that they are as good as Varane and Martinez is idiotic. WJ Barrett says, Ricky again, better than Varane and Martinez, laughing face. And JD Carmelo contributed as well, so thank you for that. But I mean, everyone's got. I have to say, I think Lindelof and Shaw have been brilliant. But let's move on to another subject. I mean, Faz, Bruno out on the right today. I heard Mark actually before we went live criticising that. I thought it worked very well. I thought he was getting some really good crosses into the box with his right foot. Ricky would like that. He ended up getting a goal, following it through on the right hand side. I thought his pressing was excellent. I thought it worked. How did you find it?
I was surprised. Didn't see that coming because I actually thought Martial is going to start today, making Sancho, Rashford or Anthony, come in on the front line. So him going out that way, putting majority of his midfielders on the pitch, I was a bit surprised. But Bruno Fernandes did exceptionally well. Always he normally you see Anthony or Ten Hag's wingers really hog the touchline and stretch the back line, but Bruno came much more inside, and because he came in, he got involved with tackles. He got involved, around in and around that 10 position, passing the ball, and obviously picking up. You have to be there to score the goal. Anthony scored similar goals this season, or also stretching and scoring at times. But Bruno today, he there's a clip obviously of him moaning and etc. to his players.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's very important he continues to do that. It is. You see the leadership he brings in. You see the tempo that he brings into the game, and he's so versatile. At times, he's not the best when it comes to his crossing and whatever, but he's kind of tweaked his abilities on the ball, and he's much more calmer. His decision-making is a lot better. Very, very good performance today. Yeah, very good. And the goal, slight luck, of course, because it deflected off someone. But
got to be following it in, though, to be there.
You have to be in it to win it, yeah.
A few times we weren't following in today, and it frustrated me, but Bruno did do that. I was speaking to somebody who sat next to me. He said, sometimes it does feel like, right at the very end, we just kind of lapse off a bit. Like, we'll do the hard work, pressing the ball down, press the ball off, and then it'll bobble the wrong way, and we suddenly look like we've given up. It's like you've got to keep pushing. But yeah, I thought Bruno was very good today. As chat's saying, we had to play with more midfielders because Aston Villa play very narrow, so it wouldn't make sense to have very wide players. But I mean, a wide player that did play, Kev, Jadon Sancho, and he was the one that was saying to Bruno, I think most people have seen the clip now, stop moaning, Bruno, stop moaning. I could hear the London accent through the video without even hearing it, but I mean, I agree. I think you have to get on as a captain. You've got to be telling players. If Sancho isn't tracking back, he's got to tell him. Yeah. Sancho was tracking back well first half.
Do we know that that's what it was? We don't.
I predict it was because I saw in numerous occasions Ashley Young being left alone and not being pressed hard enough. Again, the way Villa pressed us is Ollie Watkins again curving his press and his colleagues curving their press and we moving the ball from side to side trying to beat their press over the top, whereas you saw Jadon Sancho press one of the centre-backs and then he's left Ashley Young in acres of space, and Ashley Young is very good carrying the ball down the flank, and he did that even on the first play in the second half. Great when Ashley Young crossed the ball in.
That's where I thought
Sancho was jogging back.
That bit of an argument come from was the fact that I think Bruno wanted the ball switching play onto that side of the pitch. I thought that's where that actually come from.
In football, I think everyone who's obviously played or even watched like Sunday League on the sidelines, you say stuff in the game that you just afterwards, it's like you don't even talk about it. It's not a big deal at all. It's just what happens in the game. I mean, we've seen the Rashford to Maguire one before. That circulates every now and again when there was empty crowds, so you could hear stuff in the stadium. This stuff happens, and if it didn't happen, you'd be worried.
I like
you see stuff like Roy Keane used to say to players on the pitch.
I like that Sancho responded to him.
Yeah.
When a player doesn't respond, it's more concerning because the player's caved in and he's not confident in it. Yeah, he's hiding away, and he's just he's obviously cares. That's the point I was trying to make. And also in the second half, you saw him beating a few players and having the confidence still. It's good. It's good that they're communicating, and these things will happen.
Different players have different personalities, don't they? But like you rightly say, it's how you respond to that. You know, it's not criticism. It's, if anything, at least they're showing a bit of fight. We've been on here how many times before, you know, when this team has been dead and buried and we've questioned everything, you know, the passion, the fight, where is it? It's not good enough, not fit to wear the shirt, whatever, but at least that is all different now, the mentality.
I have to say, I'll continue on Sancho because obviously they did have that little bit of a thing, but it was, it's just what happens in football. But I have to say, I actually thought it was one of Sancho's better performances today. I thought he played really well. I thought first half his work rate was great. He just tailed off a bit. I thought he looked hungry. I thought he looked like he wanted to go at players. He put a few really nice balls in that didn't end up going on to be anything. But if they do, people are saying, "Wow, look at that." I mean, Kev, Sancho, getting more of a running in the team now with Erik ten Hag. Is he taking his chance more?
He is. I think it shows that Ten Hag obviously rates him, has got faith in him. What I would say on today's game, I think the one thing that played into United's hands, and I thought it was evident after the 5th minute, was the high line that Aston Villa played today. And it did quite surprise me that somebody so, in Emery, a manager that's so experienced, I'm not saying he didn't see it, and maybe that is Villa, and they were like, no, we are not going to change the way we play, we're going to play with this high line. The ball's over the top every single time. When you've got Rashford, Sancho, even Bruno out on the right, we've just can't. Every single time the ball was going over the top, and I was looking, thinking, are they going to sit a bit deeper here? And it kind of played into our hands. That's where the goal come from. Ball over the top, Rashford, Martinez makes the save, and obviously Bruno follows it up. It was just, I'm kind of watching it, thinking, I'm no expert, but maybe that's Emery thinking, no, this is how we play. We will continue to do that, but
first half we were caught offside 6 times.
Yeah,
six times, I think. Yeah,
it's one of them where if it works, it works very well, but it's very risky. I mean, the amount of offsides we had, I thought at that point, you know what, he's working quite well, but then that goal.
When you've got a player like Rashford, though,
that's the thing. That's probably why Rashford did start down the middle and not Martial, because he has that ability. And I thought he made some really good runs today, like you were saying before. Just didn't quite manage. Sometimes I feel like he feels like he has to score every game. Sometimes a couple of decisions can be different. But yeah, it worked well for the Bruno goal. And Ricky, first of all, Sancho, you're a fan of him?
Yeah,
happy with him?
Yeah, I'm happy with him. I thought he played well. I'd like to see the manager give him a full game at some stage. As soon as 2 substitutes get onto that touchline, he's going to be the first one getting a curly finger. I
didn't want him to come off. I said I wouldn't have subbed Sancho actually today.
I disagree. I think it's good that he took him off, because you saw when Anthony came on how much he tried to cover areas of the pitch, to try and track back, and Sancho simply, just the first play in the second half, he's walking, then he's gone past Ten Hag, then he starts jogging. Then he's gone in our own half. Then he starts running, and you have to like really bust a gut and run. Especially when we're only at 1-0, I suppose, and you're trying to kind of hold on to that result, which is what we ended up doing in the end. But I mean, everyone as well. Spurs losing 3-0 in 15 minutes is gone. Liverpool beating them 3. So I mean, poor Spurs fans are already walking out. Apparently, we should not have drawn that game last. I mean, was it Thursday? Frustrating still, but anyway, we move on.
We made our substitutions after an hour in that game, didn't we? And I noticed he left it later today.
He did.
He left it quite a bit later.
He did. I mean, Ricky,
I think the game management was all right. It was good today. I think the substitutions were at the correct time.
You were speaking about how you really dislike the Eriksen for Fred substitution, Ricky. You don't like it, do you?
Not at all. I think Eriksen's playing fine, and I think none of you really agreed with me today, but I thought he was playing great.
Well, I have to say, I wanted to bring this up to Ricky on the show, but Ricky doesn't like the fact that Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away quite a lot, tries these passes over the top, and sometimes they don't go to plan. Not keeping possession very well. Today, Eriksen gave it away many times, trying these balls over the top, trying these creative passes. Bruno didn't do that. I mean, what do you mean? Apparently Eriksen's played really well today.
I'll tell you what I make of it. Bruno was playing on a wing, so you're not going to really be trying balls over the top so often.
You've always got an answer.
And the other thing about that today, as you've already touched on, they were playing a high line today, and it was clearly a game plan. You've even said yourself that's why Rashford. Well, we don't really know, but you're assuming that's why Rashford was playing. I think the players were under the instruction today to try and play balls over the top. So there's your answer.
Picking the wrong options quite a few times.
Yeah,
Quite a few lackadaisy passes.
He was through on goal, I think, on the second half, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
where
he
his
should have
first
done
touch was
better then, yeah.
awful.
Yeah, he should have
and
done
you
better
expect
then.
him to have better first touch. And it's Christian Eriksen.
Listen, even playing like he played today is better than Fred. Fred comes on and just dragging everybody down. They got a free kick on, he just got waltzed past, they got a free kick on the edge of the box in the last minute. I was envisaging the Crystal Palace game again, when they scored with a free kick in the last minute.
Basic stuff with Fred, isn't it? We were tearing our hair out midweek against Tottenham. You know, he comes on and every single pass. I was like, he does realise he's playing for United and not Tottenham.
I think the
option,
manager's
isn't it?
thinking it's fresh legs and he's thinking we're winning and we want to be more defensive. Eriksen's just a smarter player. His positional sense is better. He doesn't have to go running around trying to make tackles and trying to nick the ball.
Fred.
Just make. I mean, there was a guy in front of me watching the game. I'm going to mention Martial here. He only come on for 5 minutes, didn't he? But when Martial came on, we were defending a lead and. I think it was Mings on the halfway line, slightly in the left back spot, and Martial standing 5 yards off him, and all he's doing is he's just blocking a lane and making him go sideways or making him go backwards, and that's how good players play. It's how Eriksen plays. You know what I mean? Just fill an hole, make sure they can't go forward, make sure they go sideways or backwards. The guy in front of me is going, get into him. I didn't say anything. I felt like saying he's doing the right thing there.
Well,
he's
we sat back because we brought in Maguire as well.
He's just stood there, making sure that he can't go forward, make him go sideways or backwards. If he goes sideways, somebody else has got to do the same job.
Yeah.
Well, with Eriksen, I agree with you. He's definitely better than Fred. Under any circumstance, I agree.
That's not up for debate.
I agree with that. Apart from maybe certain games.
Fred has some good games. Fred has had plenty of good games for us. He's also had plenty of poor games. Eriksen's a more consistent player. He's a better player. Eriksen's a top player.
Well, this is why we need a midfielder, because in my opinion, I think Eriksen is a top player, but I think he's a player that, again, one game a week. I don't
know why you say that, but why?
Because he play.
He's known for his energy in Denmark. He's known for his running.
That's because sometimes.
But he was one of the highest paid players at the start of the season.
Well, this is what I mean, and we saw that burnout with him, didn't we?
Ages he lasted well.
He did start to tail off. With Eriksen, honestly, sometimes I see he plays a superb game, fantastic. I mean, the Forest game, he was unbelievable, and then. He'll play another good game, and then you get a couple of that. He's still good because he's a good player, but it's not at the levels he can do. So this is why I think we need a midfielder, because Sabitza's already on the pitch. We'll speak about him in a little bit. When you're playing this kind of game, the only option that Ten Hag has is Fred, which Fred can work. Fred's either really good or he's really poor. There's no in the middle with Fred. He can work. We need a top quality number 8. We're desperate for one. So, a Casado or a Lavia would be brilliant in this team. Someone that can do that, Casemiro, but can also play as an 8 would be great. But anyway, we'll move off this topic. We'll go on to Sabitzer now. I mean, a lot of people in the comments saying that Sabitzer's performance will go slightly under the radar. I wanted to see what you guys made of Sabitzer's performance today. What did you think about it? Because there's no doubt in the energy, but as an overall performance, did we like the way he played?
Yeah, I thought really, really good. Probably one of the best games. And the good thing about Sabitzer is he seems to have stepped up recently. I was as surprised as any Manchester United fan when I seen the team sheet today to see the formation and then try to work it out and go, it's Bruno that's pushed out and to the right. And then I'm like, right, wow. But he obviously likes Sabitzer. That's a role that Sabitzer can play. And fair play to Bruno. He is being sacrificed by being put out on the right. But by God, he can still do a job out there. And I thought Sabitzer, everything he did, very intelligent, threat, always looking to go forward, slotting, balls through. And I thought he was really, really good. One of his better games for Manchester United today. And as you rightly say, it will go slightly under the radar because there's other people who will take the plaudits today. The likes of Fernandes, because he got the goal. But Sabitzer's up there for me today.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought he played well. I think he's really good. Again, a couple of times caught offside, but really good at kind of snatching at people's heels and getting in behind and having them little touches here and there. Very good at that. But, I mean, apparently, people in the chat, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Neville was saying he wants to see Bruno play on the right in the City final, in the City game. I mean, Ten Hag's explained why he does like Bruno on the right sometimes, because of his crossing. He's got a really good cross on him. And obviously, his work rate and his energy and everything like that. But I have to say, in the game like today, it worked,
Yeah.
but not every game. What do you make of that comment, Faz?
I don't think Ten Hag is going to do that. I think he's going to go with the strongest starting lineup with Anthony being on that side. He needs someone who can invert in, make use of Martial, Rashford, their pace. And obviously Sancho seems to be doing well as well. So I don't think this thing was specifically for this game. And you saw how many times they tried to find Bruno as well over the top so that Bruno can first time cross the ball in. I don't think Anthony is that good at first time crosses with his right foot. No. So that's clearly a tactical thing to do. You can't do that against City. So yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
No, neither do I. But do you actually, I mean, I'll ask you on this, Ricky. Do you think Anthony was unlucky to miss out today?
A little bit, yeah, I do. I think you know my opinion on Bruno. I don't think he's as vital to the team as people think he is, and I don't see why. Not only when the starting lineup's named, but also when the substitutions are made. Like for example, I knew for a fact Sabitzer was doing nothing wrong, perfectly fine in that number 10 role. When the sub gets made, you know for a fact it's him that's going off. Bruno's going to go into number 10. Bruno not playing any better than Sabitzer.
Can I ask
not playing any better than Sabitzer. No way. Sabitzer's playing perfectly fine. So why can't the manager just change it up a little bit now and then? Like he brought Bruno off in the cup semi-final, didn't he? Was he injured?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, he came off in that game again. We still played perfectly adequate, perfectly fine when he's gone off.
I wouldn't have liked it to be any longer.
Well, perhaps not, but look, Brighton are a good side. But it's not because who was on the pitch, it's just because they're a good side. We played well that day and they played well. So today, when he's making that substitution, Sabitzer is absolutely perfectly fine in that role and there's no need to take him off.
Can I ask you something? I know you're not the biggest fan of Bruno, but what I can't get my head around is, obviously he's the captain of the team. And no one can doubt his leadership, he's undoubtable. Today he actually got the goal as well, which is important. It's important. 5 games we've not had Bruno in, and one of them we've won. The rest we've lost, and the one that we won was Charlton. I really.
What are you saying there? That he's only missed 5 games since he's been playing for us?
No, this was this season.
Oh, this season.
So I don't get why you can't think he's important to the team, and it's not a coincidence that Erik ten Hag will never ever sub him. Even in the cup game, he got injured 23 minutes in. He didn't come off until
I just want to add to that as well, because Martial lovers used to use that stat. That whenever Martial plays, the team wins. And Martial has not been good in the last good few games. He's at 1 goal and 1 assist in the last 5 or 6 games, and he's averaging about 6.5 a game, something like that. Obviously, he's not playing that many minutes. But the same thing that Martial lovers used to use, you should be using against them, because it's true. When Bruno missed 5 games, we won 1, lost 4. And what does that stat tell you? It tells you that Bruno's important to the team.
Have we drawn a couple of them?
No, we lost them all.
Lost 4 and drawn.
So it tells you that Bruno's so important for the team.
So which 4 games are they? Let's have a look at that.
They were Villa. I saw it on Twitter the other day. It was Villa. What was the?
It's just because you saw it on Twitter, it don't make it true. But go on.
No, there was Villa, Sevilla, and there was a other couple as well that I can't quite remember. I'll have a look for it.
Tough games.
We talk about this.
Tough games.
You see him leading everybody, pressing up the pitch.
Yeah, but you know, look, I can easily say, look, he did play at Newcastle, he did play at Liverpool, he did play at Brentford. Do you understand what I mean?
There's such a difference when you watch it.
Of course there is, but when you're playing these tough games, these things happen. So if he would have played in those games, how was that Sevilla game? If Sevilla were playing Man City that night, they might have beaten.
So you think Sabitzer can grab the game by the scruff of its neck, play the type of balls Bruno can play, and do the kind of stuff Bruno can do?
Sabitzer was playing great today.
He played well today, but Bruno's a better player.
Is he?
Yeah.
I think
come on.
Bruno's levels ahead. I think he's absolutely vital to this team as well.
Yeah, but like I say,
he's one of exactly.
Yeah, but the same thing you say about Martial being so important, and look now, he's not in the squad. He's barely playing.
He's barely playing at all. No, we'll be doing fine without him.
But people used to use this Martial without, Martial is our saviour.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get my head around how you can watch and think Bruno's not that important to the team. I can't.
Can we talk about Casemiro?
Yeah, let's get on to Casemiro. Casemiro, is that a bit of stick? The last couple of games, not been playing at his usual levels. We've all spoken about that. Ricky, you've not been here when he's not been playing well, and you would have loved that. No, you wouldn't have loved it, but you would have kind of been able to prove your point. But I mean, Faz, you wanted to speak about Casemiro. Take it away.
Oh, fantastic! Reason why he is so missed when he doesn't play. And when he does play and have a bad game, yes, it shows. But my goodness, was he amazing today. The passing he was doing, spraying the ball, winning, tackling. First, you saw a lot of the times, he's finding players with first-time passes who are behind him. You know, just like slicing the ball and the ball's just curling because you know, it's a bit wet and the ball's a bit wet. He's just a world-class. This is what world-class players do. What he did today, the tackling, because of him, I think the other players started playing so much better because he was able to find them first time. Whilst, you know, Villa is obviously playing a high line, trying to press us, trying to play narrow. He's finding acres of space to Dalot. He's finding Sabitzer. He's finding Bruno. He's finding Rashford. He's finding Sancho. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Should have scored maybe.
This is why people need to ease off when they criticise him so much when he doesn't have a good game. Is because when he does, this is what he can do.
And people have got to kind of take into consideration, he's had a couple of bad games, like or maybe a few.
It's those suspensions that took it out.
The suspension hampered him, yeah.
Overall, overall he's unbelievable. And today, I agree with everything you just said. Brilliant. And that shot, it was such a good shot. It was such a shame it hit the bar. But I mean, the passes to Sancho and stuff like that. But I mean, Kev just kept picking the ball off Ramsey constantly, especially in the first half. Casemiro. And altogether, defensively, were quite good. Is he probably one of the main reasons why we started so strong with the way he could pick the ball up in the midfield?
I would go as far as to say I think he's probably the reason Manchester United won this game today. Yep. That's how vital he is to the team. Yep. Sat in front of Lindelof and Shaw, don't get me wrong, they had fantastic games as well. But when you look at that triangle on the pitch and the protection that Casemiro offers them, it makes your job and your day a whole lot easier. And Aston Villa, they've caused us problems in the past, the likes of McGinn in midfield, but this is when we were kind of pissing around, as I say, with Fred and McTominay in that midfield. When you've got Eriksen didn't have one of his better games, but when you've got Casemiro, who was back to his best, Casemiro, you know, it makes things so much better. You talk about setting the tone for a game today, that one of them challenges in the first half, you know, it was quiet at that time or whatever. It was like Roy Keane mode. You know, he goes in a challenge, wins the throw-in from a tackle. It gives the fans a lift and everything, doesn't it? It kind of, from Villa's point, you're like, bloody hell, you know, we're in for a game today, and that's what you want, you know, get stuck
Bruno
into
Fernandes
him.
got tackled as well, and he was on the floor for a little bit, and Casemiro went and tackled one of the Villa players, and that's, like you say, setting the tone. Is you do it to my colleague, I'm going to do it to yours.
Yeah, we like that. I mean, Ricky, obviously you had a few criticisms over Casemiro last time you're on the show. Were you happy with him today?
Fantastic today. Absolutely
like
fantastic, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. That triangle there of Lindelof, Shaw and Casemiro just in front is brilliant. But then also Casemiro with Eriksen and Sabitzer is another little triangle. And like Faz just mentioned, they're brilliant at turning the ball around the corner. But they're obviously working on this and they understand each other's games. Those as great as it is, and this is not a go at Casemiro, and I'm not taking anything away from him whatsoever. He does it brilliantly. But it wouldn't work if those players are not coming towards you. Those players have got to be switched on and coming. You can't just turn it round the corner and, you know, you've got a player stood there on his heels. You know what I mean? You've got to be coming towards the ball, getting the ball. That's why Sabitzer, I felt, had a great game and his first touch was good. Look, don't underestimate Aston Villa's form.
Aston Villa
the whole performance from the United today was absolutely brilliant.
As a 90-minute performance, it's up there as one of the best all season, because we're used to having a great first half against Tottenham and then the second half, well, like you said, there was a bit of a drop-off, but today, from minute 1 through to 90, yes, a little bit of a drop-off towards the end, but there was so many positive things to take from that game today. And it was all about 3 points. Before the game, I'm thinking, it's 3 points, I'm not bothered about performance, we need to start cementing this place in the top 4, the way these games are getting marked off. But to get a performance like that and the 3 points, happy days, man.
Exactly. That was why Casemiro was in your top 3 players when we went to Sociedad. That performance like that. But yeah, you know, he did.
We said this at the start when he first come to Manchester United, and we were like, I've said this the other week. Have we been sold a bit of a dud here or whatever? You know, is he past his best? But it took him about 4 games in, and then he just hit the ground running, and we were like, wow. And the same thing has happened here. He's had these 2 suspensions. He comes across as somebody who has to be really, really at it, and I mean match sharp. So when you take him out of his stride, he misses 4 games. That's exactly what's kind of happened here. He's had, what is it, about 3 games where we've kind of been looking and going, he's well off the boil, but by God, he's back now.
Yeah,
it's great to see.
Definitely. I mean, we're very, very happy about it. I'm going to move on to Malacia in a second, but I'm just going to quickly read out a couple of super chats that we've accumulated. Rory C says, any word on Erik ten Hag wearing the green and gold scarf? I presume a supporter threw it on him and he doesn't really know what it means. Yeah, apparently he picked up a green and gold scarf. Gold scarf. I've not actually seen it.
If you think Ten Hag
he's going to be in trouble in the
That's
morning.
a PR nightmare for Manchester United right there now. Good.
If you think our manager does not know what the green and gold means, you must be living in a cave.
Yeah, you will.
It's like the time David Beckham picked the scarf up.
Yep.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He's properly embraced Manchester, riding around Altrincham on his bike with his wife, like, you know, doing it all, embracing the culture. He'll know exactly what's going on. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure they
He's
were
also
too happy
taken a
to see that.
picture with a lovely lady who was wearing, I think, a green and gold T-shirt.
I'm sure the PR team somewhere, wherever they are, like, no.
I'd be sacked in the morning.
But Alan Kenny says, need 9 points from 6 games. Can't manage that, then there is a massive mentality issue with the players. Our home form will carry us over the line. Yeah, I definitely think top 4's, I'm not going to say it's nailed on, but it's nearly nailed on now.
One game in hand.
Yeah, we are going towards Champions League football, which I cannot wait for. We'll speak about that in a little second. Ed Woodward with the chat in. I'm not sure if it's you, Ed, but thanks for getting your chat in. He says, Ricky, your boy Anthony Martial did not get enough time in the 9 role today. I mean, I'll ask you about that in a second. And Jay Harry says, he has been right with Maguire, but he's wrong now. I'm not sure who you're talking about there. And then HKN Music says, not sure why Bruno is so overrated by United fans. He played when we lost by 6 to City and 7 to Liverpool. He's good with the ball, but over the top, not much else. Well, to me, that's the same sentiment of people saying Harry Kane has no mentality because he plays for Spurs and hasn't won anything. It's an 11-game, it's 11-man team. You know, you could throw Messi into the United team and get beat it sometimes. And it's nothing to do with an individual, in my opinion, anyway. But let's go on to Malacia. And I saw you, Fash, you were getting excited because he did get a bit of stick. I was frustrated with Malacia the last couple of times I've seen him, I've got to be honest. But today, he showed the Malacia we saw against City, the Malacia we saw against Liverpool. Yep. And this is a strong team. Take it away.
Yeah, fantastic. So much pace, trying to chase his man down. At times, I'm a bit not concerned, but I'm a bit just like questioning how he receives the ball. It's almost like he's excited. He's too excited to receive the ball. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's not calm and composed when he's receiving the ball. But as the game progressed, he got more into the game and more confident. But I just want to remind everyone, every time we talk about Malacia's, Patrice Evra's first season was not good. He said it in his podcast. He said that my agent and everyone telling me that I made a mistake, I should have left, the gaffer was not happy with me, people were not happy with me, but look at what it turned out to be. And I'm not saying Malacia is the same caliber, sure, but what a fantastic player he is for his age. Coming into the Premier League, and today, again, showing us, you know, what he can really do. The fact that he can maintain such pace with high, you know, in a moment where Villa, who are playing a high line, just randomly ping a ball, right? And you're almost thinking, we've got the game, we need to ease off, it's okay. He's just still there. The tempo, the pace is still there. I do want him to improve his attacking side because Dalot today, attacking-wise, was fantastic. First touch, bringing the ball down, beating his man, getting passes into the final third. That's something Malacia, it's like, he's too excited. He doesn't know what to do. A lot of times he overlaps and he doesn't receive the ball because maybe the colleagues are not trusting him with the ball. But defensively, fantastic.
I think it's inexperience. That probably showed towards the end of the game today with the foul on the end of the box. What we in that kind of the 93rd minute. Yeah. And experienced players don't do that. He didn't have to do it. That is really the only thing I can pick fault today. I think Faz has summed it up brilliantly. He's a fantastic left back. The age... And you have to factor that in. It's his first season at Manchester United.
Same age as Dalot, did you know?
Is it?
Dalot's 23, he's 22.
Oh. He's 23, Marcia.
Is he now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same age as Dalot. I think Dalot should get more credit for that sometimes. But yeah, definitely young, great. I mean, with Malacia, he's not been great as of late in his recent performances, but today he was great. And do you know what? I saw all the attributes that I was seeing in him. What I love about him, Ricky, is no matter how he plays, he will not give up. and he loves a crunching tackle, which I just love as well. Some of the tackles he put on today were great, but I mean, a little bit of a critic, obviously, of Malacia, as everyone has been the last couple of performances.
Recently, yeah, only recently.
And only recently, and he deserved it, to be honest, with some of the kind of performances put in. But when they play well, we give credit, and I'm assuming you were more than happy with that performance today.
Yeah, I thought he played great. As I've just said, I think everybody played well today. It was a very good team performance. So yeah, I was pleased with Malacia today, and I not only was I pleased, but I was surprised. I'll be honest, because I was a bit shocked when I saw the lineup. But he hasn't been himself recently. So credit to the lad for playing like he did.
And Ten Hag obviously trusting in these players, and obviously Dalot, brilliant game at right back. I thought. Wan-Bissaka, is that him on the bench next game? Do you reckon?
The managers. It looks pretty clear. In fact, I'll come back at you here, Beth. I said to you after the Brighton game that was it the Brighton game? Yeah, it must have been where I said that he took Wan-Bissaka off because he was starting to struggle a little bit against Mitoma, and you said no, he wasn't struggling against Mitoma, but he took him off in that game, switched Dalot to right back, brought Malacia on, I think. Then we've played Spurs away. Again, he's took Wan-Bissaka off and switched Dalot to right back, brought Malacia on. So there's 2 games in a row there where let's be honest, it's got to be a reason. He's not got an injury, has he? He's still on the bench. I don't think the manager's been quite happy with Wan-Bissaka's performances in those games. That's why he's been subbed. Before you jump at me about forwards, by the way, forwards and midfield players are the players who get subbed. Generally, your back 4, you generally stick with it. Forwards, always get subbed, not always defenders. So Wan-Bissaka has been taken off twice and then dropped, and Dalot switched to right back, obviously for a full game. Don't know whether it's anything to do with the particular opponents they might have been playing against today. Sometimes the manager might think I'd rather have him up against a certain player or whatever. Don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but it looks to me that little bit by little bit he's obviously subbed Wan-Bissaka, subbed him again. Today dropped him. So next week, if Malacia, the way Malacia's played, I would imagine he'll keep it as it is.
I just want to say on what Ricky said. Firstly, Ten Hag has said it himself in press conferences. I like to rotate. Yeah. Players need to stay fit and sharp. So that's point 1. Point 2, you bring on the world's best 1v1 defender to face Mitoma. That's what you do, and that's what he did. By the time he made the sub, Mitoma was done. He had nothing. I don't think Mitoma had anything left in him.
I agree with that. I think against Richarlison, Wan-Bissaka didn't have his best game. I have to admit that against Spurs, he didn't. But I still am on the. Mitoma was getting no change out of Wan-Bissaka. Right.
And by that time,
why did he take him off? What do you think he took him off for?
I'm not sure.
Well, you just want to. Okay, you want to change something up. So one of the things is Dalot's much better going forward. Maybe it's one of the things is Mitoma's already tired. He's played a lot of games. He's collected a lot of tackles from Bissaka, right? And by that time, a winger's naturally tired anyways, physically tired. So he's okay to take Bissaka off and put Dalot on, who'll maintain a certain level of output and see the game through. The other thing as well, which I noticed today between Bissaka and Dalot is more proactive in asking for the ball than Bissaka is. Bissaka is a very silent player. He doesn't like talking, he doesn't shout for the ball, he doesn't call for the ball. Whereas today, Dalot, from first half on, from minute 1, very, very proactive. You saw when Luke Shaw has the ball on the left side and he's getting pressed, you saw how quickly the ball is shifted towards Dalot because he's so proactive and asking. And also, he naturally moves forward. I've noticed countless times, Ten Hag is asking Bissaka, come on, stop staying there. The ball is all the way up there. Move up forward. Fantastic player, Bissaka. Love him to death. Don't want him to leave. But there's still areas of football that one can do that the other can't. So it's one of those, you play with the strengths you have.
And we've got a couple of people talking on this subject. Someone said, took Bissaka out because of the yellow against Spurs. I don't necessarily agree with that. It could be something to do with it, but I don't actually think he had a great game against Spurs. Someone said Wan-Bissaka might have been one of the 90% players that Ten Hag was references to. It's all about endurance. Dalot has more endurance and therefore he has to rotate. And then somebody else said Dalot has a higher ceiling. And then Red Olsen said less predictable. There's obviously, everyone's got different opinions on this matter, but ultimately both very good options as we've seen today. The fact Dalot can do a job at left back as well is reassuring to the squad as well. But I mean, great. I thought all the back 4 played well. Even De Gea.
I want to give him credit. 15 clean sheets now.
Yeah.
It would be enjoyable to see a new keeper come in. don't click this. I don't consent. but I would love David De Gea to have a Golden Glove this season, and wave.
Golden Gloves about the team.
Do you think he'd say in his speech, that one's for you, Beth? The United stand.
Well, I would have preferred me, not her. I would criticise him.
The Golden Glove is about the team, but I have to say he played well today, and it was like he kind of took a leaf. Obviously, he didn't do it nowhere near as well as, but Emi Martinez took a leaf out of his book a bit, because Emi Martinez, if anyone's wondering, he's that type of keeper that I would love. Like, he is a little bit of a, one of them.
Yeah, you love it, don't you?
One of them. I love that.
You'll do that off camera a lot.
I love the fact he comes off his line regularly, is a proper sweeper. I love the fact he's good on penalties, because I was having an argument with someone the other day, and it was like, we were talking about De Gea this slight bit, and they were like, penalties aren't really that important though. I was like, well, Argentina won Copa America and the World Cup on penalties with Emi Martinez in goal, so they are. So that's the type of keeper I love. But I have to say, this isn't a thing because De Gea played well. I have to say, I thought he did well today. That header coming out, sweeping a little bit.
Yeah, crazy.
And his distribution was good too. So happy with that performance.
The ball out loads of times.
Speaking of shithousery, like you were saying, Bruno Fernandes celebrating in front of the Villa fans.
Oh, the finest shithousery you'll ever see. That's beautiful.
Loved it.
What a moment.
Absolutely loved it. But I mean, I just kind of want to sum it up now. We'll talk about, go on to man of the match and who was our standout players today. So you know what, Ricky, because you've just got back from Rome and we've missed you here on the forum, we thought about replacing you, but, we didn't really...
Now then.
Listen to this.
I was on your side, by the way.
I got that.
Oh, that was funny. We'll start getting the impressions out in a minute. But no, who was your man of the match, Ricky?
Victor Lindelof.
Yeah. He is
fantastic.
And not Luke Shaw.
Loads of players played great. Casemiro played great. Shaw played great. Lots of players not far behind that level. Yeah. Sabitzer. There's loads of players played really well today, but I'd just about go with Victor Lindelof. Like I said before, when Kev mentioned something, he headed one off the line. It was a fantastic header, but then the flag went up after that, so it didn't really matter anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
but he played great.
Lindelof was superb. I was thinking about the other day, potentially at the end of the season doing something where like we do like a mini little segment, we have like a little awards bit for the forum or something. I was thinking, I wonder if anyone could guess how many times Ricky's give Luke Shaw man of the match. Like, that could have been one of the questions on there, but no, Lindelof gets it today, and I think rightly so. He was brilliant. But Kev,
I cannot disagree with it. What Ricky just said, I was going to exactly say. I was going to say it's refreshing that so many players were challenging for man of the match. I don't think it was necessarily one standout there out of Casemiro, Lindelof, Luke Shaw. You're talking about three players that were absolutely mint today. So, but I have to go with Lindelof because I just didn't see it coming. And to the fact that Harry Maguire can't even get in front of him, Luke Shaw, this little partnership that might see us through till the end of the season. Who knows, if Varane comes back in, but it won't be easy at this minute. Even a fully fit Varane that comes back in, you've got two players here. If they continue to get clean sheets and it functions, the back four as it is, it's not necessarily, it's Varane, he has to walk straight back in. I think Ten Hag will manage that well as well. It's about getting him back into the team, but on merit, because at the minute, them two are doing absolutely nothing wrong to warrant being taken out of the team.
Definitely, and Erik Ten Hag is that sort of manager. Faz, clean sweep? Or?
I do want to mention one thing on Lindelof. He mentioned in a press conference during international break this season where he said, I do want to play loads of minutes. I'll think of my career going forward come this summer. And I'm a bit concerned as to, is he playing to stay or is he playing to leave? I hope it's the first one where he stays, but if he thinks he's playing like this and if the gaffer doesn't play him more next season, he's not going to be a happy player. And, a player that's not happy is not going to be performing well as well. It's going to be a big question mark come this summer with Lindelof. Is he going to be one of those where he is starting, a good few games? Because right now he's playing like he should deserve to start over Varane. Because obviously Varane can't play 2 games a week. But I just wonder. That's just, one of the things I'm just in the back of my head. But my man of the match, I think yes, Lindelof. I wanted to give it to Casemiro, but I want to give it to Lindelof instead because it's a task. It's a big task to see out the season when 2 of our main centre backs are not here. You're also you and you're partnering up with someone who's not a centre back for the first time ever. And you know you've won a semi-final and you're going from strength to strength. So yeah, he deserves it. But from today's performance in general, so calm on the ball. Again, asking for it, being proactive, carrying the ball from one side to the other. You know, making good challenges. Obviously the header, yeah, sure, but just really composed. And this is so important to have a centre back who's so composed, because if you're not composed, the number one player behind everyone, who we always worry about on feet, David De Gea, he starts panicking. And he doesn't pass the ball well. Because Lindelof was so composed, you saw David De Gea more calmer, passing, spraying the ball this way, that way. When we got pressed to the back, they were okay, they were fine. So yeah, Lindelof. Very good.
Lindelof has been tagged with this Maguire kind of partnership, hasn't it? Which clearly the proof is in the pudding. You know, it did not work. Now you take Maguire out and you throw a Luke Shaw in next to him, and all of a sudden he looks like a different player altogether. I think it tells you a lot about probably Harry Maguire and the uncertainty. Yeah. Get that word out, that, you know, he breeds into that back four, because there's no doubt that when he plays, other players are affected, and it breaks down, like you say, having a Lindelof that can carry the ball out from the back into that midfield area and give it off. You know, Maguire doesn't do that.
And how funny was the quote that came out in one of the reports? They said that Harry Maguire hasn't had the best partners in Manchester United, and clearly he performs better. Harry Maguire's PR team do a fantastic job of protecting him.
Oh,
so yeah, you have to get that out there.
Yeah, I mean, there actually was a quote here from Erik ten Hag, and he said that Lindelof played a brilliant game and had complete control around the penalty area and Ollie Watkins. So giving him some credit. He also said that Bruno had another great game. The plan was him to play on the right, make runs in behind, and I think it worked very well. And he also spoke about Bruno constantly wanting to be available. He said he isn't fully fit in this moment, but he's determined to play, and that's exactly what you want from a Man United player. Yeah. So, you know, he just is an example and an embodiment of what you need. Like you said, playing through pain. You said it.
You have to.
You've got to do it. And it's, do you know what it is? Well, what he does is he's the captain of Man United. It sets the example to everybody else.
Yes, that's exactly.
Because some people, you know, get a bit of a niggle, you're off, you're not playing. I remember last season when we were really poor, it happened in games. And I used to say, I bet if we had a Champions League semi-final or final tomorrow, they'd be fit, wouldn't they? Yeah. I used to think that all the time, because, you know, that's what happens with some players. But no matter what, it's
almost a culture at the club, I think it becomes. Yeah. And Mourinho put this out, didn't he? His time at Manchester United, he couldn't believe that certain players just said they weren't available. You know, even though he was getting the medical team, whatever, to look at, he was like they could have had injections to play or whatever, or even play through the pain barrier. But certain players were just like, no, I'm not available.
He said that to Rashford in the City game when Rashford was tackled. And he said that in the press conference, referencing to that, he said, I told Rashford, if you want to win trophies, if you want to go far, you know, as just in your career, you must bite down and play through these things. And it's just what it is. That you're a professional athlete in contact sport. It's expected.
Yeah.
Another quote, actually, and he went on to score in that game as well, so it worked. Yeah. Another quote, because everyone was worrying he wouldn't come back out, and Ten Hag on Lindelof again said, he's playing fantastic, really good games in and out of possession, totally defending in complete control, very good positioning, good decisions, so we are happy with that. Giving him some well-deserved praise, and I think it's good, because like you said with Lindelof, by the way, he's my man of the match as well. It's a clean sweep on that one. Yeah. I mean, shout out to Casemiro. He had a really
many
good
of them,
game.
do we?
No, we don't get many of them, but we all
agree. What about your friend?
Yeah,
Lindelof?
Well behind the scenes.
There we go.
Yeah, Lindelof on the match. Yeah, he did get it for me. And do you know, like you said, I am worried he's going to leave. There's reports that, you know, Milan, I think it was Atletico Madrid, were in for him in January. Ten Hag said no, not happening. But Lindelof on that Sweden international players use it to get stuff out there. Yeah. It was basically saying, if I don't play more, I'm going to want to leave. And I understand it as a player, you want to play.
So this is for Lindelof. Football. Atletico Madrid are interested in him, and AC Milan are interested in him.
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan.
Yeah, both interested in him. Both came in through in January. Romano on the show said it, but Ten Hag said no way. This summer, I think it's going to be one of them where Lindelof's going to be asking for game time, and Ten Hag's either going to say, you know, he's going to have to pick. Is it going to be Lindelof moving forward, or is it going to be Maguire moving forward? It's going to have to be one of them. I think it has to be Lindelof.
How old is Victor?
I'm not sure actually. I'll have to
He doesn't seem to have a lot of injury problems either, does he?
He had his back, didn't he, for a while? But he's another one who played through it quite a lot, to be honest with you.
He did have a little niggle this season.
He's 28 years old.
28, yeah.
So, you know, that's...
coming in his prime then, really, shouldn't he?
It's a good age. I think he has to stay, I really do. But
it comes down to the player, really, doesn't it? And you can't really... You can't knock him if he's asking for more time next season, and if, as predicted, when Martinez and Varane come back, if they are then the first choice and get the run back in the team, Lindelof's going to look here and go, what am I waiting round here for? Will he want to be part of the squad of what's happening at United? He's coming to that age of his career where he'll probably look and think, I could be playing first team football somewhere else, because he's certainly good enough.
I don't think Varane is going to be our starting centre-back next season. It might be a hot take, but I don't think so.
No, I think
we're going to have hopefully Champions League football, aren't we? So there's plenty of games.
You need a player who's ready to play week in, week out, 2 games a week. Sometimes 3 in a week and a half. So
I think he will. I think we'll just rotate. I think we'll just rotate it. But with Lindelof, I think if Ten Hag turned around to him and said, "Look, Varane can only play 1 game a week. We're going to be in Champions League. We're going to be we're going to be going for the Carabao Cup again. We're going to be going for the FA Cup again. 4 competitions. This is what you've got to do at Man United. You're going to play. You're going to play at least 1 game a week." If he can kind of
if he's happy with that,
guarantee that, I think it works well. I think you would definitely take that if you're Victor Lindelof, because you're going to get game time, especially with we know with Varane and how kind of cautious we have to be with him. So, I mean, we're coming up to the end of the show, but I like to do this now. Brighton on Thursday, away. Going to be a tough one, I have to say. It's going to be a really, really tough one. Are we backing Man United to get the win? We'll do score predictions, starting with Faz.
Very scared. Very, very scared. Absolutely, I think one of the things is the reason why he played Dalot instead of Bissaka is because he's again keeping Bissaka for Thursday.
Yeah.
Good shout.
And he wants him fresh, ready to make fish and chips out of Mitoma again.
And as a manager, that's what you do, don't you? You say to Aaron, look, you're not playing today, but you need to focus on Thursday because we're going to really need you in that game.
Is
and it keeps players happy. Well, that's what a good man manager.
I think that's what's going to happen. But I don't like our away form at all, and I'm very fearful of Brighton, because that game against Brighton in the semi-final was a tough game. They had loads of chances, and it's a shame because a lot of chances they had through on goal was just like a bad touch, or the pass was a bit slow, so they could have ended up scoring loads of goals.
Look at what they did yesterday.
And look at what they did yesterday. They don't look like
starting on McAllister or Mitoma.
They don't look like they've actually lost a manager. They don't look like they've lost a manager who's actually made them into the team that they've actually looked stronger and stronger. They're scoring more goals.
Can I just say, and it might be a hot take, De Zerbi's definitely a better manager than Graham Potter.
Definitely. Right now it looks like it, but
it's a well-run club, Brighton, from top to bottom. It's everything United, isn't it? At the minute, scouting network, the way they bring players in, the way they're able to sell them, and just bring in teams. They've got a style of play, and whatever player comes in, it just seems to work for them.
Yeah, I want to walk away. I'll be honest. I want to walk away with no damages. So 0-0, I'll be happy with. I want to 0-0 because I want to keep the clean sheet going for David and the back line. So yeah, 0-0 I'm going for.
Kev?
I think if you'd have asked me this before today's performance, I would have gone with a Brighton win. I think that would have probably been the second time, maybe third time this season that I've kind of predicted United would get beat. But I think on the performance today and the fact that Casemiro now seems to be getting back to the form that he before the suspension, I'm a lot more hopeful. I think there'll be maybe a goal in it. I'd probably say 2-1 United, I think.
Ricky?
I'll go with Faz there. I think it will probably end up being a draw again, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was 0-0 again. We're going to set ourselves up to be difficult to beat, surely. We've had enough batterings from teams that you wouldn't expect it from. In fact, it isn't that long ago that Brighton beat us 4-0. I know it wasn't with this manager, but he should know his history by now. Got beat 4-0 there, we got beat 4-0 at Brentford. We need to go there and make sure that we're still in the game after an hour and take it from there. So I'll go for a 0-0 draw as well.
Well, to round, you've got 2 0-0s, 1-2-1. I'm going to go with 1-0 to Man United. I think we'll could nick it, but it's going to be very tough. De Zerbi's got them scoring. That was the problem before. They didn't score too many. They score goals for fun now. We stopped them doing it at Wembley, but Brighton's home ground. It's going to be a little bit different there, and then they'll want revenge as well. They'll want revenge from Wembley. So it'll be interesting. But look, the hour is gone past. It's flown by as it usually does. Thank you everyone for getting your comments in and your super chats as well. We really do appreciate it. Man United got the win today. The protest was out in full force. Got the voices heard. So it's been a good day for Manchester United today and for the fans as well. So Faz, Kev and Ricky, thank you all for coming on. Do we have you on Thursday, Ricky?
No, I'm going away again on Wednesday.
He's away again.
The travel man. This what I messaged him the other day. I said, if Channel 4 need a new host for Travel Man, this is your man.
We just don't
Instagram
get
is off the scale,
man. Staff around here, honestly. Can't get the
the
staff.
travel man.
I mean, we'll have the forum back on Thursday anyway.
Where are you going now?
Spain.
Oh,
Going to Spain again. You're in Spain more than you're in England, aren't you, honestly? But no, well, anyway, thank you for coming back, because you got a really early flight to be here today, didn't you? So
I had to be on a flight at 6 a.m. this morning.
Well, it's all right. You've got a private jet anyway. Don't worry about flight times.
I had to be up at 3:30.
And if you know Ricky, being up at 3, if you follow Ricky on Instagram and watch him, we know he likes to have a couple of drinks as well. So, you know, getting up at 3:30 is...
I can just imagine him walking down the airport with his camera, showing the airport and saying, it's 3:30 a.m. Yeah, Becca's got me going to the airport. Check it. Here's me boarding pass. Now then. Let's check.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, everyone follow Rick on Instagram if you haven't already. It's Rick the Red, isn't it?
Rick the Red
Go
UK,
and look at his travels on there. So, yeah, we'll have the fan forum back on Thursday. But look, everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for watching. And make sure you hit a like in the comments. And just a like in the comments, hit a like on the video. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good bank holiday weekend, everyone.